You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley with Insurance for Texans. We help church leaders across this great state to find the peace of mind that comes from real protection, not wishful thinking. Today's episode hits close to home for anyone who's ever lived through a Texas storm. If you are like me, you've watched dark clouds roll in from the west and felt that knot in your stomach. That mix of awe and anxiety is the feeling every Texan knows when the wind picks up and the clouds darken. For Texas churches, the question isn't whether or not the storm is actually coming. It is whether you are prepared when it actually rolls through your town. When your church is damaged by the next Texas hailstorm, will your insurance respect reality or rely on wishful thinking? Pastor Allen was sitting in his office in Waco when the weather alert went off. He did what we all should do, which is move to an interior room in the church and wait it out. Pastor Allen thought he was prepared for what came next. The immediate damage looked minor, but a professional inspection revealed the entire roof was compromised and needed replacing. That's when the second storm hit the insurance claim. Because the roof was old, the policy only paid out actual cash value, not the full replacement cost. After the high deductible and depreciation, the church was left with a fraction of the money needed, forcing them to hold fundraisers instead of just scheduling repairs. They learned the hard truth. They had been wishful thinkers, not reality respecters. Here's the thing about reality. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't bend for good intentions, and it always wins. Storms, lawsuits, and unexpected losses aren't theoretical. They're inevitable. Being a reality respecter isn't about living in fear. It's about acknowledging the truth that life happens. There are 5 realities that all churches must face. The first is the reality of Texas weather. All across the state, weather in Texas has one thing in common, and that is unpredictability. Yet too many churches have insurance that doesn't truly protect them. Roof age matters. Deductibles matter. Coverage type matters. Don't delay the day of reckoning. Being a reality respecter means reviewing your coverage before storm season. A second reality that all churches must face is the reality of fine print. Pastor Allen's church found out the hard way that fine print can change everything. Their wind and hail deductible was higher than they expected. Their roof coverage was a depreciated value because their roof was more than 10 years old. Those 2 small details buried deep in the policy turned what should have been a straightforward claim into a financial crisis. A third reality for Texas churches is the reality of stewardship. It's about protecting what you've been given. That means understanding your total cost of risk, which is not just your premium. It's your deductible, your exclusions, and your claim payout reality. In other words, how much money could your church lose if the worst happens tomorrow? Being a reality respecter means being honest about that number and preparing for it. A fourth reality that all churches must face is the reality of wisdom. A pastor friend once told Pastor Allen, "You don't know what you don't know until the insurance company tells you." That might sound cynical, but it's true. The difference between regret and wisdom is having the conversation before the storm and not after it. You can't control Texas weather or the economy or even the actions of others, but you can control how ready your church is when reality hits. Pastor Allen's church eventually replaced their roof, but only after a huge effort. They learned their lesson. For their next policy, they stopped guessing and started asking questions. They became reality respecters. That's why we built True Texas Church Insurance. We don't sell wishful thinking. We help churches understand their real risks, structure coverage that actually works during a claim, and find the peace that comes from clarity. Because when the storm comes, the goal isn't to argue with your adjuster. It's to keep your doors open on Sunday morning. Is your church insurance a reality respecter or a wishful thinker? If you're not sure, it's time for a conversation. Visit insurancefortexans.com to schedule a policy review. Let's make sure your coverage respects reality before reality forces you to figure it out. And if you'd like to go deeper into how churches can find peace through preparation, grab a copy of my book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith Stewardship and Insurance. Until next time, remember, faith doesn't ignore reality.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.